Hello. So, I didn't think we'd make it this far. But we've got one final opponent here for the finals of UBL Season 12. We had an incredible set last week with Capybara. And now it comes down to a finals that probably should have happened a long time ago. Winda versus Cannor. The current owner of the VGC division, who does a ton of stuff behind the scenes and is doing more stuff on their channel now. And I think has made a new channel for UBL specifically, which is super cool. So go check that out. What is it called? At least look up the video for. Or look up Ultra Battle League VGC, and then you'll be able to find it. So, I don't know if you knew this, that's what the UBL stands for. It stands for Ultra Battle League, because we started this in Gen 7. Or, we started it for Gen 7 draft. Anyway, backstory aside, me and Cannor have played multiple times. In fact, it's not the first time we played in the finals. We actually played back in RDL, for finals as well. No, we played in semi-finals, didn't we? No, I played air in finals. We played in semi-finals, but they were the only person to actually take a game off me that season. So, anyway, we played this season. We lost. It was actually a really cool, really close set. It was very hacksy for the first two games, and then we had a really good game 3. I thought we were out after that. But we managed to win in our last week, which barely got us into playoffs, and as a result, we get a rematch against them. And we managed to beat Cafe. Let's see if we can beat Cannor. So for a recap, their team consists of Goldengo, Amrospherian, Staraptor, Slowking, Pyroar, Virizion, Rhydon, Mousehold, Regidrago, Swampert, and Grookey. The team that they brought last time consisted of Goldengo, Staraptor, Slowking, Rhydon, Goldengo, Staraptor, Rhydon, Mousehold, Regidrago, and Virizion. Last time their game 1 plan was to go Virizion with Mousehold beat up. And then they missed Stone Edge on my Entei, in which I proceeded to miss a Sacred Fire on them. Yeah. So those were the 6 they brought last time. I don't think they're gonna go for Virizion again, unless they're trying to scare me with it, which I have plans for this time just in case. But I don't think they bring Pyro, I don't think they bring Swampert, and I don't think they bring Grookey. I think the other 8 have potential. I don't think they end up bringing Virizion, I think that's the least likely. But I think otherwise the other 7 are perfectly reasonable brings here. So, yeah, it could be any of them, they could be a myriad of different sets. I think Cannor has put a good amount of time. In fact, they prepped really hard to make sure they could get to finals, and it paid off. They got through it. So we'll see what happens. So I imagine they're going to be very much prepared with regardless of what they bring. Some notable things is they do actually really like Rhydon. Rhydon is actually one of the kill leaders of this season, tied with their Regidrago. So it's put in a massive amount of work for them, and I just see no reason for them not to bring it here. Drago as well, I think, comes. I think Dengo, Drago, Rhydon are all guaranteed at team preview. They never brought Dengo when we last played, but That's because I brought Entei to a ton of games and kind of scared them off of it. So, but yeah, I think Star Raptor has high likelihood of coming. They've really liked Scarf, even just Scarf Tailwind, but they also liked using it for Final Gambit as well. So, something to consider for sure. I think Enamorous could come, whether it's AV or a setup set, though I learned that it's not quite the setup that I thought it was. I thought it had Iron Defense Body Press or it had Stored Power. It has neither of those. It just tries to go for Iron Defense, Calm Minds, and then just Draining Kiss and Never Die. That makes me a little bit more comfortable against it because it's not as immediately threatening. It needs a couple boosts to get there. So yeah. Slow King will be standard Trick Room support, and Mouse Hold, unless it's beating up Virizion, will be standard support as well. It could be offensive, but I don't expect it. No. As for my team, it took me a bit to come up with what I wanted to do. I was really unsure on what I wanted to do here, and it took a couple of days for me to kind of figure out what I wanted to do and hone in on a strategy, and I think this will work. I did a couple test games with Kathy. Shouts to them as always. When I'm really struggling, I reach out and they were able to give me a hand. I would have reached out to them for semi-finals to prep, but when we were playing each other, couldn't really do that. So, but yeah. Shouts to them. We did some test games, kind of looked at the matchup, and it still seemed good. What I've come up with seems like it could work. So we'll see what happens though. So for a recap of what I brought last time, I went pretty hard in on TR. Utilizing I brought Spiritomb, I brought Mesprit, I brought Chestnut to try and have like a Calm Mind set up in Trick Room with Mesprit, using Spiritomb's low speed, and then also Chestnut's good into Rhydon. And then just had some general other good stuff, like Iron Treads as well. This time, very different. The only thing that I think is very similar is we are bringing Mian Xiao and we are Sash Lead. Actually, I don't even know if I brought Mian Xiao. We'll have a look after this. So I didn't even look at the team that I brought last time. I was like, I'm doing something different entirely. So, Fake Out, Close Combat, Wide Guard, Knockoff. This was the moves that I selected. Standard Focus Sash, except we've got a bit extra defense. This gives us a better odds at living a full hits of Population Bomb. It's not guaranteed, but we still need the speed to outspeed Star Raptor, and then as much damage as I can get, because like Terror Fighting, Close Combat can take out Star Raptor even if it's bulky. And we've got the Inner Focus, which is really nice. One of the things that did catch me off guard was the fact that they brought Intimidate Star Raptor, despite how many Inner Focus mons I've got. This time I'm not even going to mess about with that. There is no physical attacker on my team that is intimidatable. So, Wide Guard, it's something I actually just didn't bring last time, because I expected them to be prepared for me to have Wide Guard. This time I am bringing it, not because I think I need it, but because I think there are going to be some situations where if I have Wide Guard, I will feel safer making a play. For example, one thing that came up in testing was I felt safe going for a Wide Guard and then a switch. Because like I thought I was more likely to get a Pokemon in safely because I had Wide Guard. So it's one of those where I feel like if I have Wide Guard rather than not, then I'll have more safe opportunities to make certain plays, because certain plays will get punished by Wide Guard, by me not Wide Guarding. So, but just having the option to have it is really nice. Make It Rains, Dragon Energies, Dazzling Gleams, all that sort of stuff are potential for ruining me, and as a result we've got that. And then Knockoff is the final move. I didn't want to be completely walled by Goldango. And 2 knockoffs can take out some Goldengo if they're not super bulky. So, yeah. And by super bulky, I mean just like a max HP, like a Nasty Plot variant. If it's like a Scarf or Specs variant, then knockoff will be a 2-hit KO, I believe. So, but what we're pairing this with is something I have not done all season. I don't even know if I've thought about it all season, but I think that this matchup in particular, it makes sense. Right at the start of the season, I said this team thrives on just being bulky offense. And Cannor's team is very aggressive. So we need to help bring it in line a little bit, and that is why we are going with dual screens Raikou with Terra Fairy. Snarl, Thunderbolt, Reflect, Light Screen. Enough speed to outspeed Mousehold. Enough HP where we can take a... I believe it's a Dragon Fang Draco once Light Screen goes up. We've got Terra Fairy just in case for that anyway. And then the rest in special attack, which will Oko Staraptor. Originally it was Volt Switch, but that didn't Oko Staraptor. So I was like, I'm going to make sure I've got Thunderbolt. So, yeah, this is going to be mainly, like, damage control. Thunderbolt can still deal reasonable damage, and Snarl can bypass the Lightning Rod that the Rhydon has. Plus, we're leading this alongside Mienshao, at least for game 1, but I imagine I could switch things up after that. Well, this means that Rhydon can't freely hit the field and then not be immediately threatened, which is really nice. But yeah, having dual screens here, like the light screen's the more important one, but if they do have physical offense, such as the Virizion, then having Reflect is really nice. Plus we have Fake Out to see if we can dampen their attempts to go for offense. But yeah, Reflect will help shut things down like the Rhydon, which I think we live a high horsepower once Reflect goes up, which is really nice. I made these calcs yesterday, so I don't remember exactly what I was calcing for, but yeah. 8 turns of Light Screen, we've gone with Light Clay. Because I think by the time screens run out, because they're not going to bring an answer to screens. I refuse to believe they bring an answer to screens, because I think there's no way they expect it. If they do expect it out of the blue, then fair enough, we'll have to improvise and pick and try a different strategy, which we do have a couple of other things that we can lead. But if they don't have Brick Break or Psychic Fangs, which I don't even know if anything on the team gets Psychic Fangs, it would just be Brick Break really. I think Virizion gets it. I think maybe Staraptor gets it. And Rhydon would get it, I think, but that's it. Out of the mons I expect anyway. I don't think Swampet's coming, so yeah. I think Raikou is going to do some really good work here, because even if they've, like, I think just regardless, setting screens and having 8 turns of screens is so valuable, because it lets us play the bulky offense game that we want, and can deal the damage that we need to allow us to clean up in the end with some of our other Pokemon. So that's the idea with Raikou. The other potential lead Pokemon, I think, or at least the most likely to lead, is our Enamorus, who we did not bring last time. We didn't bring Raikou last time, I know for sure. We also didn't bring Enamorus. This time we're bringing it to at least threaten Draco a bit. We're 1 point faster than our Mienshao, and we are the Berry, because we can take at least one non-boosted Make It Rain with this. Do a ton of damage back with Moonblast to certain Pokemon, like the Regidrago, though I imagine they will EV to live it. Balls, and then Earth Power will just do nice damage into Goldengo, into Rhydon. I guess Pyroar if it comes, but I doubt it does. But the main thing here is it has Tailwind. If we need to match speed control, or if they're choosing not to bring any sort of Trick Room setup with the Slowking, then I feel pretty comfortable going with Enamorus to set up Tailwind, maybe match their speed control, and then try and set up screens later so screens last longer, or just, you know, give up on the screens entirely, see if I don't need them, and just go with an Amorous. Maybe they are really relying on Drago, so yeah. Nothing too crazy with it. We've got Terra Ground, which I believe we brought last time as well. It's the same 4 moves as last time, just the EVs and items are a bit different. As for the other Pokemon, like, everyone's got a complicated moves, EV spread that I spent at least half an hour on. Other than, I think, Suicune. I think Suicune was actually the one that took the least amount of time. But we'll get there at the end. So, starting off, as Pokemon that are most likely to come in the back, Basculegion. Basculegion is a Pokemon I did not bring last time, and this time we are bringing a very bizarre set. We are a super bulky 156 HP, 108 Spadef, 36 defense Basculegion with 204 special attack and 4 attack and minus speed. We are mixed, special, predominant with Hydro Pump, Shadow Ball, Aqua Jet, and Protect, the Spell Tag, and Terra Water. What on earth is this doing? So, the thing is, last time Rhydon definitely gave me some trouble, and this is easily the best Pokemon to threaten the thing. Unfortunately, it means we've got to rely on Hydro Pumps, but even if they Terra into a type that is neutral to water, Hydro Pump will kill a Eviolite max special defense one. If they do Terra into a type that resists water, such as Dragon, then Hydro Pump is 2-hit KO / Shadow Ball is 2-hit KO. Spell Tag really helps pick up extra damage on things like Goldengo. I believe it helps 2-hit KO non-AV and Amorous, which is grand. Can do extra damage to Regidrago, which is great. And then we've also got the Aqua Jet with potential Terra Water as well. Because if I'm able to, you know, take the hits as I need to, and then, you know, go for a priority move to finish off things, then that's brilliant. Because a lot of the times I found myself just going for Snarls plus an attack, and then, like, things are down to about 15%, and then Aqua Jet can help pick things off from there. So, that's the idea with Basculegion. It's good in Trick Room because it's decently slow, because we're minus speed. If we do get Tailwind up, we are not faster than Mousehold, but we also, I believe, speed tie what's it called? A Goldengo that is running enough speed to outspeed a -1 speed Raikou. So hopefully that doesn't come up. But otherwise, yeah, this is going to be our Basculegion. It can take hits really well. The thing is, everything on this team can take hits really well, provided screens are up. So, plus with Snarl support, I think this team can do really, really well against the predominant special attackers that Cannor has. Next up, a set that we actually brought last time, as in last week, and that is Weakness Policy Entei. I thought about it, and I was like, Weakness Policy is probably got to be somewhere, and after last time Entei put on a show with it, I think it's probably the best Pokemon for it. It was that or Suicune, but I ended up going with a different set for Suicune. 132 HP, 148 attack adamant, 52 defense, 132 special defense, 44 speed. It means, again, the speed that I'm expecting a bulkier Goldengo to go for is about 123, something along those lines. So we've gone a little bit faster than that. Otherwise, we've got a bunch of HP and special defense, which again, I can't quite remember what they do. But I know I was looking at Regidrago, I was looking at, on the physical side, I was making sure I could live a high horsepower behind Reflect. I believe we can at least take a +1 Nasty Plot, +1 Shadow Ball as well. We can take a ton of different attacks, and at least make sure we can live 1. Because especially if we get that Weakness Policy off, we do massive damage, I think there was initially the reason for the attack, and then I ended up making sure I had more. which I believe we get. I believe we get max HP Goldango, even without the boost. So, but in a similar vein to Vascular Legion, we have the E-Speed to pick things off as well, which is super nice. Try and pick things off at the end. Otherwise, yeah, Sacred Fire, Extreme Speed, Stomping Down to Protect, nothing too crazy. Our main other physical attacker, because it's immune to Intimidate, so yeah, really nice stuff. Hopefully Entei can put in some work in this last game. Then the last Pokemon, because we are actually bringing all 3 legendary dogs. We are bringing Suicune. Scald, Snarl, Calm Mind, Rest. As I said, this was the easiest one because 244 HP, 164 defense bold means I live a Leaf Blade from a non-boosted Leaf Blade from Virizion. So the rest after that went in special defense, other than the 4 HP and 4 speed. Sorry, no, 4 special attack, 4 speed. The reason for Resto Chesto is because if Suicune is going to be put under a lot of pressure, like if it ends up coming down to a 2v1, even with screens up, it's not going to have the time to, you know, go for like lefties recovery, or even a Citrus might not be enough. So I've gone with Resto Chesto because I think that's probably the best option to try and keep this thing healthy, even if it's just for one time, because the games aren't going to go on super long. These are going to be pretty like aggressive games. Like the turns aren't going to go, the game isn't going to go past like the 8 turns of screens really. Like there'll be a couple turns after that if Suicune's in at the end, but otherwise, even if it's not Calm Minding, Snarl is great support. Scald can burn things, but I think 1 or 2 Calm Minds can really solidify the end game win condition. If my other Pokemon are able to put on enough pressure, Suicune can kind of clean up in the end by just starting to set up Calm Minds while the other Pokemon are being pressured by the partner. Something like Vascular Legion or Entei could be pressuring something while Suicune is able to set up with this Terra Grass. So Terra Grass just resists water, and resists grass and electric. So that's the reason for that. In fact, the whole point of the original idea was to go with what we went with week 3, which was I'm going to send out Suicune at the lead, and then just stop pressuring, and just go super aggressive. But I kind of like reeled it in after essentially panicking, because I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how I'm going to win this. I got bodied last time. But I managed to reel it in and kind of it's still kind of a similar thing where it's like Suicune can win in the end, but Suicune doesn't need to come to every game. It's much better into games where I think they are more likely to go for Trick Room. Because I think if I'm able to stall out Trick Room enough, and do the damage that I need to, then Suicune can kind of be the finisher afterwards. So that's the idea. And I suppose now we'll have a quick look at what was our team. We did have a Namorous last time, but I didn't end up bringing it. We did actually bring Wide Guard, but I didn't end up using it. We had the AV Entei, we had Treads. So yeah, we're bringing 4 different Pokemon this time. The only ones we brought last time were Enamorous and Entei, and I don't even think I ever brought out Enamorous. I don't even know if I brought Entei, to be honest. I know I just focused more on the TR stuff with the Sash Chestnut lead. The Sash Chestnut lead with Treads I focused on. But it ended up getting intimidated. So that's why this time we've got our 2 main physical attackers being immune to it. And while Raikou got on 10. No, I should be pressure on this. That's the one change I'm gonna make. Because with pressure, like that means that Dragon Energy can run out of PP. So can Make It Rain, and so like Dragon Energy Draco and Make It Rain all only have 8 PP. So does Recover on on Goldengo. So we could pressure stall some of their moves out. So, or at least make them consider not clicking a move just because we're using pressure. So the only way this comes back to bite me is if they bring Grookey, which I don't think they're doing. So that is the team. The finals. This has been a hell of a run. We're going for our threepeat. Cannor's going for their second UBL season win. I'm just hoping for a good set, because at this point, I think this has been a really solid season from us. I can only ask for a good set for a finals against Cannor of all people. I'll see you guys for the battle. It's tomorrow. Let's see what happens. Alright, this is it. Finals time. Versus Cannor. Cannor has wanted... I feel like Cannor has wanted this finals for a long time. And so have I. Regulation F. Best 2 out of 3. Let's do this, Cannor. You and me. They brought Pyro. No Dango at all. Interesting. Oh, interesting. So they brought Pyro, which I didn't think they'd bring. But it's not like it does me any harm. Let's see. I wonder if they're trying to go for Snarl stuff with the Pyro. And I wonder if they're bringing Virizion just to kind of threaten the idea of doing beat up again. Regardless, at least game 1 I'm happy doing my screens. Oh god, I'm shaking. I need to calm down. I think I need NT. That's 50 plus 4 behind Reflect. I have a chance to live. I'm definitely bringing Suicune. I think Suicune looks really, really good here. Breathe. I'm shaking so much, it's not even funny. I think it's Entei. I think it's Entei. Is it Entei? No, I think it's Basculegion. Oh, okay. I need to calm focus. Okay, so they're going for Maushold Virizion. So last time, I believe it was Covert Cloak Maushold. It's just fake out reflect. Is that really the play? Do I have a better play? Not really. Okay, they double protect. That's fine then. So I might be going for a Terra Fighting here, just to try and kill this Virizion. Just offer it. Because I've got 2 water types in the back anyway. I want this Virizion dead. And I'll put up Light Screen, I think, honestly. Yeah, they go for beat up. Even if it lives, I think I can take it out with an Aqua Jet. A Leaf Blade Raikou, but it's not even a kill. And that took like more comfortably than I expected. Because that took 82? That's like actually physically defensive invested to even have a chance to do that little. Plus 4 Leaf Blade. Behind Reflect. No, I did 91. They did 82. 82 is like a low roll. And I did what? 91? Could just be max HP or some variation of it. Go for Sacred Sword. I'm just getting rid of this mouse hold. It's Chople. That's really good to know. That's why they have Protect. Bring in Drago. I've still got my Sash. Even at -1 attack, I'm still looking really good. It's Scarf. Okay. That's just good to know. Well, it's not Scarfed anymore. Yeah, so that takes that out. Get the CC into it, which does a ton of damage. You just go for a Dragon Energy, which does very, very little. They bring in Rhydon, so I bring in Suicune. I still have Terror available, whereas I do not, but I'm not going to be slowing... I'm not going to be letting up any pressure here. Okay. Makes sense. I'm just going to make sure I can take out this Drago. Before it, like, just in case it starts doing something I don't like. It's Terra Fire, which was not what I expected. I expected Terra Electric or Terra Dragon, not Terra Fire. But... we get it. That's game 1. We got game 1, and now they know my deal. My question is, what do they have to stop it? I get a 3 Reflect off against that Virizion lead, and they can't even take me out because Leaf Blade doesn't kill. They've got Chople on the mouse hold, which is good to know, which means it's probably got a good amount of bulk to make sure it can live at CC. So I brought double water in the back. I don't think I want to bring double water again. Just because I don't want to risk it. So I have to bring 1. I think if I... So I bring in Entei this time, because in case they want to bring Virizion in the back, is their way of beating Suicune. And then I think I want the power of Basculegion. Might as well Star Raptor this time. Very interesting. So, I didn't check, and I should have, if I was high enough HP for this, but we're going to have a look now. Okay, if they are max HP, they do Oko me with Final Gambit. But they can't do it if... Yeah, so I'm going to go for a Reflect first. So I'm going to... Yeah, I'm going to fake out the Star Raptor. Right, no, it can't be Scarfed. Ooh, it's Covert Cloak. Guaranteed a Tailwind there, see? Okay. Fair enough. You're fine just going for Knockoff into Mouse and then... I think I'm just going to go for a Reflect. Oh, that's so unfortunate. It's a roll. Is trying to get chip on Basculegion. Can't take out the Star Raptor quite. And I would expect that they either follow me or protect here. So I'm gonna go for Protect and Snarl. Play around to follow me. Yeah. And then Snarl should take it out. Nice. And we didn't, so we deny them their second Tailwind. Yeah, Virizion came in the back. I had a feeling this time. I'm going to go into Entei, and I think I just try and take out this Mouse Hold. We take nothing from that. Okay. Now it will force a Terror from them. I say they should still do a ton. No burn, mind you, but oh, does Snarl kill? There's no way, right? Virizion against max HP does Snarl kill? No, there's. I'm not risking that. So I'm gonna protect, because I think they protect and try and take out my my Entei here. What's like the best middle ground play? I think it is Terra Fairy Snarl. Granted, I've still got Basculegion in the back. Where they don't protect. Snarl gets the kill. And they don't have a non-attacking move. We did it. We won. We actually did it. Holy crap. Yeah, I guess they just don't have a move. Damn. Well, no, because they're Scarf. Right, they Scarf themselves into Dragon Energy, they die, and they lose. Wow. Yeah, that's game. Damn. I really hope that crit Snarl didn't matter. It just depends on how much bulk they had, but that does it. We win 2-0 against Cannor. I can't believe it. I genuinely can't. We are now your three-peat UBL champions. Sometimes they call me the GOAT, and I guess this is why. With a random draft, which I definitely think that's a little misleading, but I certainly drafted random types. We got it. The 3 dogs, a fish, a cat, and a sassy GF who didn't even come to any games. Yeah, that's it. We fight. It's UBL Season 12 is over. But of course, we'll do the team wrap up. So yeah, we'll come back to it. Well, I'll see you guys in a sec. So, we did it. We are the Season 12 UBL champions. I can't believe it. We went into this with a random draft, where we drafted random types, and that's we made some changes after the initial draft, and then we made a couple extra transactions in the regular season. And despite everything, despite barely sneaking into playoffs, we managed to get there. We had some great games this season, and I think in playoffs we really brought it together. As we usually do, we'll be going over the team and my thoughts about this overall, as well as some very big standouts for me. So First of all, I suppose go to the honorable mentions from the original draft. I suppose the draft post Grace. With Rabska and Feraligatr. And I suppose Flittle as well. Though its replacement didn't do anything, it never came, so Flittle gets no shout out. Rabska and Feraligatr. Rabska, I have learned, is an awful Pokemon. Don't draft this thing. I brought it 1 week against Kathy, and then every time I looked at it trying to use it for TR, it was pointless. I hated it in drafting, or I hated it in building, because it was never useful. It just dies too easily. It doesn't do enough. So, yeah, not a fan of Rabska. Probably the one I liked least. Yeah, dropped it for a very good reason. On the other hand, I actually did like Feraligatr in theory. It's just I didn't quite have the support for it, I don't think. I think if I had redirection, or at least reliable redirection, I would actually use Feraligatr more. Especially because the water type we ended up replacing it with is getting bumped up a tier, because it should have been. But, yeah, Feraligatr, I actually would be really happy to draft again. I think it's really solid, it just does a lot of great damage. And giving it the opportunity to set up with a Dragon Dance or a Swords Dance, then just start clicking buttons, I think is pretty reasonable. Especially with the sheer force boost on things like Liquidation and Ice Punch. It could just do a lot of damage and kind of help break holes in teams. So, which is definitely my kind of Pokemon. So, Feraligatr did nothing wrong. Rabska was the problem. But I also realized a lot in building when I had Feraligatr that I was bringing in lots of physical attackers. So, Feraligatr kind of ended up having to be dropped, sadly. For that reason, mainly. So, but yeah, Gator did great the 1 week it came. So yeah. As for after that, I suppose shoutouts to Scatterbug, who didn't even make it into a builder, who, you know, it's an E tier. It has, you know, what it has Rage Powder and Struggle Bug, and that's basically it, and String Shot. You know, it's there. It never came. Shoutouts to Scatterbug, I guess, for being the bug type that held that burden of the type that I had to draft. From there, other than one Pokemon, everything really did shine. The only one that really didn't was Spiritomb. Spiritomb only came to 1 week, which was our week against Cannor. In which I still think it did really well there. It's just I kind of found it difficult to build with. Especially like if I wanted to go TR. It just felt really awkward in building. Just because it was not quite bulky enough. It does have good utility, and the typing offensively is really nice, and obviously defensively it's only weak to Fairy, which means you can terror it into whatever you need. So, like, it's not bad at all. Just didn't quite work for me this time around. Dark types are kind of hard for me to draft, so I could easily see myself trying Spiritomb again. But otherwise, yeah, like, it wasn't bad. It's just, I think, other Pokemon vastly outclassed it this time around. But after that, oh my god, everything else. Everything else. The least used after this, and honestly, I would have lumped this in with a kind of disappointing if it wasn't for finals, and that's Raikou. So Raikou, originally, I wasn't super big on, after using it for a couple weeks, and then trying to make plans around it, using it, with you know, it's like, it's good support and it's good offense, which is really, I like that in Pokemon. I really like that in some Pokemon. But I was just finding it difficult to, like, put on teams. And I'm not really sure why. It was good. I really like this set, the Snarl Throat Spray set. Like, easily my favorite set. That I got to use. It was really, really cool. But in general, it was. I found that it's in some of the later weeks a little harder to build with. I think because I was prioritizing another special attacker who came to a lot of weeks, or at least a preview anyway. So it was just kind of a bit of an awkward one, where I had another really fast, not really fast, it certainly wasn't as fast, but another really, a similar style of fast special attacker, whereas Raikou kind of ended up going more supportive, and I couldn't be clearer than what it did in finals. This dual screen set won us the season. I can't understate that enough, that's what it did. It won us the season, no questions asked. We did not win this season without this Raikou. And as a result, I cannot say this is a bad Pokemon. And I can easily see myself drafting this again, and just like, I think, depending on the team, could be used better. It just depends, what the team needs. So, I can easily see myself using this again. And maybe using it more on a different team. This has definitely happened before with some Pokemon, where, like, I've drafted them once, and they've not really felt right, and then I've drafted them again, and they've felt much better. And Raikou, I think, is going to be an example of a Pokemon that happens with, where I'll draft it in the future, because I've at least seen its potential. But otherwise, this season, it didn't do quite as well as I was hoping for, one of my A tiers. For one of my A tiers to only come to 3 games out of 10. Kind of rough. But at the same time, I can't really fault it for winning as the season. The dual screen set, it did it. It won the season for us, no questions asked. So, not saying that dual screens is the best set for Raikou, but it was something that it had access to that I managed to take advantage of in the finals. So. After that, though, oh my god. Really? Is that the least used after that? Wow. That's impressive. The least brought after that looks like... I think it's actually Mesprit. Well, I kind of wanted to talk about Mesprit later. We're talking about Suicune, which was our number 1 pick. Our round 1 pick. And one of the Pokemon that before and after Grace and after Transactions, we did not drop. It was like one of 3 Pokemon that we didn't end up dropping or picking up post or pre-Grace, like post-Grace or post-Transactions. It was our round 1 pick, and it's certainly a solid Pokemon. I think Suicune's not my kind of Pokemon, though. I like Pokemon that do big damage, but have some supporting capabilities. Suicune does not do the big damage. It needs help. It needs some support. Though I did bring it a decent amount. How many times did I bring Calm Mind? I think most. No, not there. Rotate against error. Okay, so 4 of the 6 were Calm Mind. Just because I think it probably needs the support. With the increase in damage, and kind of using it as a late game win condition was kind of my most, like, prominent idea with it. Was just like, okay, let's just set up with this in the end and try and win with it. Because that's probably the best use for it, besides setting up Tailwind, which, like, I didn't value speed control that much this season, so it didn't really matter, as much for me. Like, setting up Tailwind, I just kind of relied on the bulk that I had to do to keep me going throughout a lot of the games. So using it as a Tailwind set just didn't feel worth it a lot of the time. Whereas using it Calm Mind kind of felt like the best option. Still a good Pokemon, I'm not going to argue Suicune's not good. And I imagine it forced a lot more prep than I realised. So Suicune, not a bad Pokemon at all, just I don't think it's quite my type of Pokemon. Maybe if I do have a team that kind of is really slowed down, then maybe, but yeah. Apparently I could have saved EVs on this spread. Ow. I guess, maybe? Apparently I could have saved 1 point and I could have... well, alright then. Apparently I'm bad at EVing still. So yeah, Suicune, solid. Solid. Same with Raikou. Raikou and Suicune were kind of the solid ones. They didn't quite do as well as I was hoping for being so high tier. But they were still good. After this though, we start getting into some of the more special ones. So we had 3 C tiers that all massively put in shifts this season. So let's talk about the first one that wasn't picked up later in the season, and that is Chestnut, and I love this little guy. Though this Iron Defense set didn't quite work as well as I was hoping in the original match against Kathy, after that we just started bringing the thing offensively for Trick Room, and it was good. This was a spicy set as well. Sash Wide Guard, Terra Ground, AV, and then I tried to go with the Iron Defense set again, potential in there. But yeah, Chestnut got into a lot of games, and it was solid. It was really solid. Just the right amount of coverage to get the job done. Obviously, it's got a huge weakness to flying, and it's not quite slow enough to be a real Trick Room sweeper. But it's annoying to take down if you give it the right opportunities, and I think because I was forced to use it in this way, it really let me see the potential of this Pokemon. I passed up some B-tier grass types to take this. I passed up things like Breloom to take this, and I don't regret it. I think it's amazing. Really showed its stuff, and I'm glad it got to. So thank you, Chestnut. You really put in work for us. Speaking of putting in work for us, Mesprit, oh my god, this Pokemon I knew was going to be good, and it was. Thank you, Mesprit, for being a go. Oh my god. Mesprit, I knew it was going to be good. It was so much better than Bratsk. Even a base 80 speed Trick Room setter, and it was still good. Came to 4 weeks, which we ended up losing 2, which kind of sucks, but I still think it was amazing. The fact that it can be a setup sweeper, but also I end up using it just bulky offense with Trick Room, just because it's generally bulky enough to get the job done while still dealing good damage. It has amazing coverage, it has great supporting moves that I just didn't get to use. Mesprit was really solid. I love this thing to bits, so I'm really glad I got to use it. I had it back in Season 3 for like a week, and, well, like 2 weeks, and it was just like, it was fine, but it just didn't get an opportunity to do anything. Whereas here, I think it really got to show up in the few games that it actually came to, so really happy with it. And then the last of the C tiers, who definitely shouldn't have been the C tier, Basque friggin' Legion Female. This thing was bonkers good. It could be physical, it could be special, we ran mixed in finals. It was amazing. It really was. The potential of this Pokemon was through the roof. I knew it last season when it was in C, and I was like, oh, well, I can't draft it because I just don't have, I can't, because I'll have too many ghost weeks. This season I was able to pick it up after week 3, and I would say it's part of the reason we made it. No, I would consider this one of the main reasons we made it to playoffs. We beat Lord Nobody with it, we beat Air with it, we beat Eris with it, and we brought it in finals against Cannor. We lost to Final Gambit with it, but it was still an amazing Pokemon. The fact that it could go physical or special was so good. It made it so much more versatile than I ever thought. Literally the first week, the one that's supposed to be the special attacking set, I ran Banded. This one is super good. And it could be built really bulky as well, like we did in the finals. It was super, super bulky. With bizarre EV spreads, because this is me we're talking about. Yeah, I couldn't be happier with Basculegion. It's a Pokemon that's moving up in tiers for a very good reason. Really can't fault Basculegion. It was an amazing Pokemon, and I'd even consider drafting it at B. With the right team, I would consider drafting it at B as well. I think it is that good. We had it as a steal at C, and well, it helped us win the season, and I can't really ask for much more. Next up, though, we got some lovely B tiers that did some amazing work for us. Ones that came a ton, and really showed up at times. Not always, but Treads I'm not going to spend too much time on. I used Treads last season to a victory, and this is 2 seasons in a row with a Treads victory. I don't know what else to say. The booster speed sets are amazing. This one was booster attack, which I do not remember why, but yeah, no, an amazing Pokemon. Which I didn't even use the Rock Tomb set until semis, which was one of the really nice things I found about it last season. Was just it has the option to have some form of speed control, with just an insane speed stat. And I've also just come to realize that it's just important to have a Paradox Pokemon in draft because of the booster potential. It just gives you so much extra speed control that you don't realize you have until you play with it and you go, oh my god, this thing is so fast, and isn't restricted by a scarf or anything. So yeah, amazing Pokemon. It did everything it needed to when it came. Sadly, it didn't have as great of a showing against Cannor, I remember that, because it got kind of intimidated down. I do not remember that match with Gambit at all, to be honest. But whenever it did came, it was a house, and I really can't fault it for that. Treads is amazing, one of the few Pokemon we didn't end up dropping in any capacity. We got it, we picked it in draft, and we kept it throughout. But the only other Pokemon that we did that with was Mienshao. I knew I'd love this Pokemon. I was a Mienshao believer. Every single time I saw someone draft it, I was like, that's a great Pokemon. I think that will do well for them. I finally got to use it, and it felt amazing. It didn't matter that it did the same thing every week. Didn't matter. You know why? Because the one thing that it needed to do was fake out and click buttons. And that's exactly what it did. It couldn't be faked out because of inner focus whenever I chose to run a reckless high jump kick there. But otherwise, like, there was a bit of lapse in it in parts, but for the most part, it was just fake out close combat. It was fake out close combat. It was fake out close combat. I might have clicked on the same one twice, but it doesn't matter. It's fake out close combat. It's fake out close combat. It's fake out close combat. Probably knock off on there to hit ghosts and whatever else works, and it does exactly what it needs to. It won us semis. It won us finals. It was the one big supporting piece that this team had, and we wouldn't have won without it. we would not have won either of our playoff matches without it, and I'm so glad that we got to use it. Amazing Pokemon. Great fake out support, great damage. There's a ton of things you can do with Mienshao as well that I just didn't get to really use, just because I was so limited with this draft. That is one of the big things. It's just this draft was so limiting because I didn't feel like I had a lot of options a lot of the time. So some Pokemon really did feel forced into certain roles, and sadly Mienshao kind of was forced into fake out role, but it was good at it. It's a great Pokemon at it, even because even if your opponent's got a faster fake out mon, you can at least trade fake outs, and I mean, I can't really ask more than that. But now it's time to get to our final two, our final A, and our S. Starting with a Pokemon that was doubted upon for some time, and even Cannor said it themselves, this is the first team that this Pokemon has looked good on since its release. And I'm not gonna say anything. This Pokemon was amazing, and that is Enamorus. This really shined for me, and did way better than I expected it to. I think it's just because I could make sure it could live one hit, and like, this thing getting 2 attacks off does feel like the end of the game. It's so strong, and the coverage is just right. And we did even run Tailwind in semis, which was part of the reason why I won, I think. We got to set of Tailwind, and we used it pretty bulky for that. But I didn't even really use the main thing that it's known for in regular VGC, other than against Gambit, which was the Terra Stellar set, going physical, which I had to go mixed here because they ended up drafting Great Tusk. This was the only time I tried it. So I was like, well, I could try and set up, but I already had a ton of great physical attackers for this team. Like, this ended up coming special, but this could easily be physical. This is physical, which we'll get to, and this is physical here, and this is physical. Like, there's so many physical attackers that this team had that it didn't really feel like Enamorus could be that physical attacker. But hey, when it came specially offensive, which was a ton, by the way, it came so often. Holy, it only didn't come in, what, week 9? Amazing Pokemon. Really happy I got to use it. This is probably one of the higher ends of what this Pokemon really can do. So, yeah, I'm really happy with Enamorus. Thank you very much. Really would not have gotten by some games without this thing. Really feels like a good fairy type, which is rare for me to get. But now we get to the big boy S. We may not have drafted him originally, but once it came to Grace, and I saw the funny idea I could do of picking up all 3 legendary dogs, we got the Entei. And even without Terror, this thing still felt amazing. Except when you miss Sacred Fire. Why do you do this to me? I've won singles with Entei. And going into VGC, I knew how good of a Pokemon this could be. And, yeah, it was. Funnily enough, it was. It didn't come, I think, as many weeks. There were a couple where it missed out on, obviously against Rain, most notably. But the fact that this did so much damage and was so bulky, supporting sets or offensive sets, it really did do it all. The classic AV from VGC just does well, regardless of what you bring. And the fact that there's priority as well, like the ESP priority, even without Terra Normal, still does really solid damage. So it really showed up and did so well for this team. It was probably the centerpiece and why I said this team is a bulky offense team at its core, because of Entei. Entei embodies bulky offense. And really nothing shined more than in the semi-finals, and while we brought it for finals as well, it never propped. But weakness policy Entei, the reason we won semis, 100%. It did insanely well, and I think in a way that no one expected Entei to be used. And I can't really thank it enough for that. The legendary dogs, 2 of them didn't quite do as well as I was hoping. But this one did massively well. It was the one I'd used before in singles. I was familiar on how it worked, and I knew missing Super Fire would suck. But when it hit, it really felt like a beast. And I really can't say much more than that. It did incredibly well for us. So I can't be much happier with it. Entei's a GOAT. They're considering dropping this thing for next season to A? And I'll do it again. I'll do it again. But yeah. This whole team as a whole, I cannot believe I won with. It was shocking to do so. But it did it. And some Pokemon I think could have done better. I think Spiritomb could have done better. I think Raikou could have done better. I think Suicune is probably the middle of the barrel where I was like, okay, I understand how this mon works now. Maybe not my kind of mon. But after that, everything else I loved. I really did. And sorry, Scatterbug, I suppose. The other 7 mons, all 3 C tiers were incredible. Our 2 B tiers were incredible, though knowing Treads certainly helped. But Mienshao I also knew going in was going to be a good mon. Enamorus was a big question mark for me, but it really showed up and showed that it could be a great offensive fairy type, which is something that we didn't have because the Float Main's been banned. So that's changing next season. So maybe it's a little worse. But even still, it's still a great Pokemon, and the flexibility of it as well is great. Same with Basculegion. The flexibility of Basculegion is great. Mesprit as well. I wanted to bring physical Mesprit, but I just never got around to it. And then just Entei kind of wrapping things up just really showed its worth. Even without being able to Terra, it still did incredible. So, the team obviously had flaws. Of course it did. I had to stick to certain types that I randomly drafted. Which, for a recap, were Fire, Fairy, Ground, Fighting, Water, Grass, Ghost, Water again, Electric, Psychic, and Bug. Those are the 11. And, we did it. We won. Even with all that, even being held back. And, I really can't thank this team enough. For Geringers, the threepeat. So, this is actually where I would have said my plan was, after this season, if I got a threepeat, I would take a break. I would take a season off, and just step away for a season. But UBL's going through some changes. We're expanding. We're advertising to other people. By the time you see this, Season 13 will be on the way. With what we hope is new coaches, new divisions, and changes in Pokemon being legal. We're not doing Regulation G, don't worry, we're not using legendaries yet. But things are changing. And I didn't want to step away for all the excitement. Not yet, anyway. Maybe after this season. Maybe after this season I'll step away. But I've got my threepeat, which is, I think, the biggest goal I could ask for. So that's, I suppose that's UBL, our Season 12. We now have 5 of the 12 titles of UBL. And it feels good. Like I say, we ain't stopping here. There's more different Pokemon I want to try to draft. There's more games to be played, there's more amazing teams to be built, and more amazing battles out there to be had. So let's keep having them, shall we? And I hope you guys, despite my upload schedule, stick without me along the way. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys for Season 13. Peace out, everybody.